Welcome to this session, which offers a retrospective of the RNCM Percussion Department through the eyes of the former Director of Percussion and current timpani tutor, Ian Wright. After 42 years at the RNCM, Ian's going to be retiring from the Percussion Department in just a few weeks' time. And today's presentation provides a great opportunity to look back at Ian's fantastic achievements over all this time and to hear from some of the many former and current students whose lives and careers Ian has helped to shape, alongside messages from staff, guests and friends. Good morning. Welcome, Ian.
Good morning, Simone.
Good morning. So much has happened after all this time at the college. You must have seen some amazing changes.
Well, it's very different today to what it was in 1979 when I first started teaching at the RNCM. But already the college was 5 years into its life. The history being that it was a joining up of the Royal Manchester College of Music and the Northern School of Music. So John Manuel was given the commission to found the new college. And when it came to percussion, he knew Gilbert Webster from his days, I understand, as a student at the Guildhall in London. And Gilbert was by far the best known all-round percussionist of his age, really. He was the principal in the BBC Symphony Orchestra in the time of Boulez, and he had started before that in the era of the dance band. So he had a very broad musical experience, along with his teaching, of course, at the Guildhall in London.
Now, at this time of the early 70s, you were the timpanist at the RLPO, the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra. Did you know Gilbert? Did you meet him at all?
I met him once. I only met him once when I bought a cymbalum from Peter Donohoe, the pianist. And it was a speculative enterprise, one might call it. And I had no idea how to go about learning the instrument. And Gilbert, one of the things he had done was to teach himself the cymbalum. And he played it, of course, in London, Harry Anash and the Boulez pieces. So I went to see him in Manchester and asked his advice on how to go about learning the instrument. But that was the only time I met him.
Well, with Gilbert's health sadly beginning to fail in the late 70s, and then very sadly Gilbert passing away in December 1978, you were invited to come in and to join the staff by Tim Renish, who I believe was the head of school at the time, of course. And I know that you knew Tim through the RLPO, but also that connection with the National Youth Orchestra of Great Britain as well.
Yes, Tim was principal horn in the NYO when I joined as a young lad of 13, freshly down from Aberdeen. But I knew Tim more from the RLPO. He used to come and conduct us quite a lot. And I got to know him on the road there with the orchestra. But of course, we had that NYO connection. And that was probably why he asked me to come and do some teaching when Gilbert sadly and so suddenly died, Christmas of 1978.
So you were already working with young musicians at the NYO at the time then?
Yes, I've been doing that for 5 years. I remember the date well because my first course at the NYO was my first wedding anniversary, and
I bet that went down well.
It wasn't a popular move. Anyway, I have been forgiven since.
Well, it's worth mentioning, of course, with Gilbert's legacy. I mean, we see in the department even now, you know, I'm always finding instruments that have got Gilbert's name on them, or books or pieces of music. But, you know, a real lasting legacy, a lasting tribute, if you like, for Gilbert was that vibraphone solo that now is so popular the world over, Blues for Gilbert, of course, written in memory of Gilbert Webster.
Yes, very soon after he died by one of his students, Mark Glenporth, And I think it's still played as much today as it was when it first came out. Extraordinary, beautiful piece. And well, could anyone write a more fitting tribute to the teacher than that? I don't think so.
It's a great piece of music, very special to us, obviously, at the RNCM. So when the time came, obviously, to appoint the new director of percussion, Tim Renish has written something here that says, "My decision to recommend the appointment of Ian was easy, since I have on file an amazing letter of the 24th of May, 1979, which is a masterly assessment of the department, its staffing requirements and equipment." So Ian, can you remember that letter? Can you remember what we had at the department at that time in terms of instruments, and what you felt we needed to take the department forwards with instruments and the program itself?
Well, we had an extraordinary number of instruments. Presumably, Sir John had a big budget to found the whole college, not just the percussion department. And with Gilbert's experience at the BBC and all the pieces that he'd done there, all the Messiaen and all the contemporary pieces which Bullis had conducted, it was the natural choice to include, well, the cymbalum, of course, which the RNCM has, and all the cowbells for et expecto, and the gongs. So there was a glorious array of instruments that started off the department. Now, Gilbert had done all the teaching. Remarkably, he taught absolutely everything. But for the first 6 months when I started, I did the timpani teaching, and Eric Woolscroft from the Halley Orchestra, the principal of the Halley Orchestra, did the percussion teaching. Now, Eric also taught at Huddersfield University. So we did it together for 6 months. Then Eric felt that he was just doing too much between Huddersfield, RNCM, and the Halley. So he left us at that point, and we came up with a scheme really where I would be, as it were, the leader of the department, taking all the first, second year students each week to give them a continuity, but with having specialist teachers to cover the areas such as tune percussion and actual percussion. Now, I played percussion in the RLPO as well as, of course, in the earlier years, but my speciality by that time was timpani. And of course, a bit of ensemble, but so we that was the start of a team of teachers rather than just a single one. Now, whether it's better or not is open to debate, really. But I think most colleges do it like that these days and have done for some time.
Well, we're going to have a look at the staff in just a moment. But first of all, we're going to just take a moment to have a look at a tribute from, and hear some words from Janet Fulton. She's going to recall some memories from her time at the RNCM, where she was a postgraduate student from 1981 to 1983. And she's also going to talk here a little about your teaching and its legacy.
Hello, Ian. I'd like to join with everybody else who's involved in this to just thank you so much. You can be so proud about all of the people that you've helped start off in their careers, hundreds of people now. And for me, it was definitely just a change of direction with my playing when I started having lessons with you in my third year at Huddersfield, and used to come over by train to have a lesson from you. Really look forward to those sessions, worked hard in between, listened, learnt, followed what you were saying, and all of those things just consolidated and enabled me not just in my playing career but also in my teaching career, because of the way that you taught, the methodology that you used, the thought that you put into it, that has really influenced me right the way across the years. The basic stroke, it was the one that I taught everybody that I've taught since, because it is such an obvious thing to do. And yet I hadn't met it until I came for lessons with you. So thank you so much from me for everything that you've done, both for me and for everybody, to enrich and train all these musicians that now fill our lives today.
Some lovely words there from Janet Fulton. So Ian, when you started as Director of Percussion, you mentioned there that you were working alongside Eric Woollerscroft, but the department was about to expand in terms of staffing. Can you just mention who then came in next?
Well, to teach tune percussion, advanced tune percussion, we had Heather Corbett from the BBC Scottish Orchestra. We had David Johnson from the BBC Symphony Orchestra in London. And we had Ray Lomax, who was timpanist in the BBC Northern Orchestra, I think it was still called then. It hadn't become the BBC Philharmonic. And he taught percussion and percussion ensemble.
And of course, later joined by your colleague from the RLPO, Graham Johns.
Yes, that was a few years later. Graham came to Liverpool in 1983, and he joined us. And that group of tutors lasted for quite a few years. David Johnson sadly died when he was on tour with the BBC in Japan. So that was when Graham started teaching after David had died.
But of course, someone else that was in the department very, very early on and is still coaching our students today was Dave Hassel.
Well, that's Dave is a special mention, really. Dave was in right from the very start in 1979. And he's there today, going stronger than ever. Now, his activity has expanded in the last few years, of course, with the Department of Popular Music, which we now have. But one of our ideas at the time was that percussion is international. So we've got, and it's really on a very broad base. And we're not going to adjudicate on what music we're teaching percussion within. We're going to do it all. And of course, drum kit, Latin, hand drumming was important then. And we were the first college to really get Dave teaching all the students in a consistent way on all those instruments.
And that, of course, you know, continues to this day. It's such an important part of the program. I know that when I was a student at the college, you know, I learned some right across the spectrum, you know, learning all those different styles. But working with Dave from very early on was fantastic. And it really opens your eyes, doesn't it, to a whole different area, if you like, of percussion study.
Absolutely. And the thing about Dave as a teacher is that he had worked it all out. He had figured out how to teach as well, of course, as to play all these instruments. And and he had written books and studies and so on. So all the material and all the listening lists which you had, it was all there in an incredibly well organized way. So and of course we thought from the beginning there has to be attention paid to the employability of the students, and at that time, popular concerts, even in the symphonic world, were increasing. So it was so obviously important that all the students learned the whole range of percussion to increase their chances of being able to make a living when they left college. As simple as that.
Now,
and
of course,
that carries on today under your leadership, exactly the same, which I'm very pleased about.
Well, of course, we're also joined by Paul Patrick, who's still on our staff now from the BBC Philharmonic, principal at the BBC Philharmonic. But the rest of the team, I'm sort of grouping everyone up together here, because actually, when we look at the rest of the team, Liz Gilliver, Andrea Vogler, Lee Ure, and myself and Ian Forgreave at the junior RNCM, actually, there's a bit of a link there between all of us, because we're all your former students.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I was on the panel for some of those appointments, but not all of them. Ian started the junior school in 1987. So that's a very long spell. He's been leading there. And Andrea Vogler, she started in 2002 when when that department expanded, Paul Patty came a little later than Graham. Graham found his commitments increasing all around, and Paul started to share the percussion teaching with him. So there was gradual changes as the years went by. And Heather found it more and more difficult to get down from Glasgow on a regular basis, and that's when Liz Gilliver started. So she's been with us for quite a long time as well.
Well, it's great, isn't it, to have that continuity in the line of study going from yourself and then through the various former students who are now on the staff. And you mentioned there Liz Gilliver, of course, former student, current tutor at the RNCM, and she's got a message for us now, followed by some music from the Manchester Marimba Orchestra. Now, this was a project that Liz put together for the Day of Percussion in 2015, and in the lineup there's a whole array of current students as they were in 2015, but they were joined by many alumni players. So whilst we enjoy this clip from the Manchester Marimba Orchestra, Ian, do have a look and see who you can spot in the mix.
Hi Ian, it's been an absolute honour to have been your student, your colleague and your friend for so many years. There's so many highlights of my time as a student at RNCM, including the wonderful percussion ensemble concerts, the myriad of inspiring visiting artists, and the wealth of resources that you so generously shared with us, including your own timpani parts and the handwritten orchestral excerpts, which simply weren't available in print in those days. We're very fortunate. I'm not sure my generation has ever quite got over being asked to learn the first violin part of the Brahms Quartet, arranged by Schoenberg, which you accidentally transcribed for xylophone, but I think we'll forgive you today. I wish you the happiest of retirements, Ian, with your lovely family and many exciting adventures to come. Cheers.
Well, lots of familiar faces there in the Manchester Marimba Orchestra from the RNCM Day of Percussion in 2015. Now, Ian, over the years, we've had the pleasure of welcoming hundreds of different guest visitors to the college to work with the students. It's been amazing when we look back and see the whole range of visitors that we've had covering a wide area of different percussion topics over the years. Who was the first visitor we had, or some of the first visitors that we had to the RNCM?
Well, the first two international visitors, I didn't have anything to do with the organization, but they were memorable events. The first one was Bill Kraft, who'd been timpanist in the LA Philharmonic before becoming a composer full-time. And Tim Renish had invited him as a composer mainly to do a program of his chamber works and percussion pieces. There were a lot of unusual instruments involved in those percussion pieces, such as brake drums, car springs, and we didn't have any of them, of course. That's something Gilbert hadn't got for the department, quite understandably. So the students had to go with Bill to the scrapyards of Manchester to find these parts. So a few people tell the story of that still, including Bill.
Well, Ian, someone else who remembers that visit very vividly is our Principal Study Administrator, Susie Stonefield. Now, Susie actually started at the college just a few months after you did, and she's been looking after all of us in the School of Wind, Brass and Percussion so brilliantly ever since then. She remembers that visit by Bill Kraft very, very vividly indeed. But Ian, who were the next visitors that we had to the college?
The second event was in 1982, and that was a visit on the Arts Council Contemporary Music Network from Nexus. And they had become really well known for their performances of the George Hamilton Green Rags, which had lain dormant, I think, after the age of ragtime in the US for some years. But Nexus revived them. They did arrangements, solo xylophone, and 4 people playing on 2 marimbas. Wonderful, wonderful, incredibly good playing from Bob Becker on xylophone, and the coordination, the sounds. So that was really inspirational for the students to listen to.
Now, another very early visitor to the college and a frequent visitor to the college, of course, was Keiko Abe. Keiko came first in 1985, and she makes a very nice note. She says very fondly of her first visit, she remembers it very, very fondly. It was as if I was invited to a garden with beautiful percussion flowers. What a lovely message from Keiko Abe.
Well, indeed. Well, her music, beautiful percussion flowers. That was exactly what it is. Her brother lived in the south of England at the time, and she had been coming to visit him. So she wrote and said, "Would you like me to come and do a concert?" Of course we would. Of course we would. And she played a program. She wasn't that well known in this country at the time. She played a program of Japanese music, which included 3 of her pieces. And Keiko, oh, so modest, said to me at the end, "Did I play too much of my own music?" Keiko, no, next time you must play more. Just play all of your own music. And I think other people must have said that to her, because the second time she came, it was all her own music. So that was the start of several visits over the years. Truly inspirational again.
Now, we've had so many visitors. We don't have time to mention everyone, but we've had some visitors that have come back a few times over the years. So Ney Rosaro being one of those, Eric Samu, Naboshka Zivkovic, of course. And it's been great to have that recurring visits, if you like, to work with the students.
Well, absolutely. That was my idea, that they would come every few years and meet a new group of students, play performances of their music, sometimes, of course, involving RNCM students, and teaching them in the style of their music. So I thought that was really important. it has to be remembered that there wasn't that much percussion music around, certainly in the UK in the 80s, the 70s and 80s. There's been an enormous explosion since, but here we had particularly four percussionists who were writing a lot of music which the students greatly enjoyed playing. Keiko, Eric, Ney, and Nabosha. So having them visit was part of a rolling program of inspiration with close attention paid on their own music.
Well, talking of that, sort of the continuity, if you like, of course, another visitor who we've enjoyed having with us over many, many years, and actually who was our first international visiting tutor in percussion, was Birger Sulzbrook. And Birger's come many, many times, not just to work with us in classes and lessons, but also, of course, to work with Dave Hassel's group, Apitos, working with the RNCM Big Band and the RNCM Salsa Band. How did you actually first meet Birger?
Well, he came in 1986, part of a tour to promote his newish book, Latin American Percussion, with all the Brazilian and Cuban rhythms, still a Bible today. And so that was the first time Chesters were promoting the tour. He did a workshop and he coached the students a little bit, and everyone loved it. And he got on very well with Dave Hassel. They became very good friends. And as you mentioned, subsequent visits, he played with Dave's band, Apitos. And by that time, we had an RNCM big band, which turned his attention to salsa when Birger was around. So there were many memorable concerts with Birger over the years.
And not just concerts, of course, because actually when I started at the college, my first experience working with Birger was actually going out to some primary schools in Liverpool and doing some workshops for those children, led, of course, by Birger. So a group of us students kind of travelled out together to Liverpool and took part in those workshops, it was a fantastic experience.
Well, the idea there was to give the RNCM students a chance to help Birger take part in these workshops. He was absolutely wonderful at doing it, connecting the dance to the different rhythms. And what would start would be a group of young school children who wondered what on earth was going to come their way. And then Birger would get up and do a little bit of dance, and they would laugh, but they would get up and they would do the dance as well. So you could actually see in action how to do it. So that part of the idea was that would encourage students to think, well, I could do this when I leave college. I could do workshops in the same sort of way. So.
And of course, like so many of the guests that we've had over the years, that Birger has become a very special personal friend of yours. I know you've enjoyed many happy holidays and days walking and cycling and having fun together. So let's enjoy some music now from Birger Sulzbrook with the RNCM Big Band as part of the Day of Percussion in 2009. And before that, some music from Keiko Abe.
Hi, I'm Keiko Abe. play Yamaha.
Well, some great memories there and fantastic opportunities for our students over the years working with these fantastic artists. Well, Ian, we're going to go into a little bit of a numbers game now because I was trying to figure out how many students that you actually taught over the years, and I'm afraid I couldn't quite do the maths, but I believe that you and Chris have done the maths. And what is the number?
Well, the number is 210. I've actually kept a list over the years of who left in which year. So it wasn't that difficult to do, but sometimes I get a bit mixed up. Wow, how many years ago was that? How many? So I do have that list I can refer to now and then.
Now, of course, the department at the moment, it's a very big percussion department. We're actually 26 students at the moment. But when you started at the RNCM, how many students were in the department then?
10. 10. So it was a very, very much smaller operation, yes. And of course, we didn't have the space that we have today. There was no library building and there was no Oxford Road wing.
Now, we've always had the pleasure of welcoming so many international students to the college. I mean, this has been going on for many, many years now. And while we were just chatting earlier, we put together a list of the countries that we've had students come from. I think we've got everyone here. Let's see if this sounds about right. Italy, Cyprus, Portugal, Switzerland, Iceland, Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, Ireland, Japan, New Zealand, Malaysia, the United States, Germany, Sweden, Brazil, and Spain. I hope that's all the countries. I think that's everyone there.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
But it's fantastic, isn't it? How our international students, they bring their culture and their music to the department. I mean, it really has enriched the department over the years.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, it's a two-way thing. I was never in any doubt about that right from the start. You know, music around the world. You know, no, we're not talking about percussion just that here. The whole of the music they bring from wherever they've come from.
And of course, you know, I know that you've kept in touch with many of those former students over the years, and actually, when you travel abroad yourself, you often you know, go and meet up with them, which is a lovely connection.
Yes, absolutely. It's well, Hong Kong springs to mind. Laptak, Jojo, Han Ying, Miu, Oscar in Spain, Mariana On in Arkansas, Nick Petrella in the States as well. I met up with him a couple of times over there. And that's always nice to meet them again. And they all seem to go back home and do well in music in various ways.
Well, let's hear some messages now from some of those students. Then we're going to watch a little clip of you in action, actually in a concert that took place in China. And you were playing alongside a former student and, of course, current Deputy Director of Percussion, Li Ye.
Hi, dear Ian. Here's Jun. Firstly, congratulations to your retirement. You are such an incredible legend for us. You are the artist, the best teacher, and the best educator. I want to express my appreciation to you. I'm very, very fortunate to study with you in last 2 years. I gained many great musical minds and directions from you, which affect me a lot. I still remember every details in our lessons and classes, which will be the sweet memories for me. Thank you very much to give me huge support to my musical career, practical and psychological. Finally, I wish you enjoy your retirement life and enjoy your travel with Chris and stay in good health. I believe we will meet again soon. Thank you very much.
There, Ian, Mr. Ian Wright. Congratulations for your retirement and many thanks for all these years dedicated to play and to teach percussion. Hope to see you around the world, maybe in any of your promenades with Chris. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Hey Jan, greetings from the snowy and sunny Switzerland. I just wanted to wish you a very happy retirement, and I want to thank you very much for everything I learned with you during that wonderful year I spent at the RNCM. Have a nice retirement. See you soon. Bye.
Hello Ian, it's Ying here, and how honored I am to be your student. And you taught me so much and gave me a lot of support in those years. I really love to say thank you and all the best to you, and wish you be happy every day.
Ian, that looked like a fantastic concert. Must have been brilliant to go and play out there in China.
Oh, it was, yes. That exciting conclusion there, there's a sort of a battle of the timpani versus the tom-toms, yes. No, that was a great experience. Wonderful hall and great to play with Euler.
Well, we talked in the previous section about the fact that, the department has grown, so much bigger, starting off with 10 students when you started. We're at 26 now. But of course, a key thing for us was the fact that the buildings actually expanded as well. So those two new wings that we've had built at the college, the library building, and then later the Oxford Road wing. I mean, that really opened up some huge possibilities for us, didn't it, in terms of the amount of instruments we could have, for example.
Well, absolutely. The college was growing all around, not just in the percussion department. So we had more rooms, as you mentioned. So we needed more instruments, and 5-octave marimba appeared at last, thanks to Yamaha, the Keiko Abbey model, and that's still going strong today. So we had to fill those rooms with with more instruments, and that really expanded the solo side of playing it made it much easier to practice, basically.
And of course, it meant that we didn't have to practice standing outside the percussion studio anymore.
Oh yes, that was always a difficulty, shall we say. Yeah.
And of course, that with the library building, of course, the library itself moved to the new premises that we have now, absolute world-class premises that we have for the students in terms of all the resources that are available there, music, videos, DVDs, audio. And of course, that meant that we could expand the series of music and repertoire that was available for the students. It suddenly exploded, didn't it?
Absolutely, yes. And we were getting much more music from around the world now, not just from the States, where most of it had come from in the start. But that encouraged, of course, the ensemble activity. The library's always been really, really supportive at getting new material. As you say, the CDs, that was an innovation which enable them to listen to the music much more easily than before. So it's a question of resources. People forget the time before when it really was difficult to get to know about things. Really, it was much more word of mouth and speculative purchase of music. Sometimes it was good, sometimes not so good. But now we had a much larger library and much bigger collection of resources there.
Well, all of that led, as you said, you know, the expansion of the solo repertoire, the expansion of the ensemble repertoire, and you know that of course led to some exciting possibilities for the students. And we're going to talk here a little about a quartet that was formed at the college, of course, Formality, and formed by Adrian Spillett, who of course was the first percussion winner of the BBC Young Musician of the Year. I can remember watching that. I remember as if it was yesterday, watching it on the television, and when they announced that Adrian was the winner, and you know, the first shot, of course, was to Adrian, you know, acknowledging that he was the winner. But then the camera shot across to the balcony where you were sitting, surrounded by the RNCM percussion students, and all hooray! I mean, really kind of exuberant cheering. I thought everyone was going to fall off the balcony. Really, everybody jumped out of their seats. Must have been so exciting.
Oh, absolutely, yes. That was definitely a highlight for all of us, not just for 80. This was 98, and it was only in 94 that the BBC had graciously allowed percussion to take part. After years of lobbying, I might say. I was involved in that, Evelyn was, and various other people. And eventually, they allowed percussion in 94. So we all wanted to go and encourage Adi to the height of his performance in the Schwantner concerto. So the minibus filled up with students, and we drove over to Belfast, and he won. As simple as that. He won, and it was a wonderful occasion. And from that, he had the idea to start a quartet. And Formality, very successful for many years.
Hello Ian, I hope this video finds you well. Just a very short note to say thank you very much for a wonderful 5 years at college, and to wish you all the very best for your retirement. Hope you have plenty of lovely long walks and mountains to climb. Thank you.
Hey Ian, Sam Wilson, percussionist here, wanting to echo the congratulations of so many others on this amazing achievement. I have great memories of us playing that insane program of Varese music back in 2009 with the MYO, and then since then many really great experiences playing with people here in groups like Formality, other ensembles, all of whom have passed through your orbit, who have gotten to learn from you, receive your knowledge and your passion that has had such an amazing effect on this industry. Yeah, well done. It's a wicked achievement, and take care. Thanks.
Hey Ian, 42 years. Congratulations, what an achievement, what dedication. That's literally 2 generations of students benefiting from your inspirational lessons. I've got many fond, vivid memories of my time at the RNCM, flying in from frosty land to a warm, welcoming, buzzing percussion department. I feel very privileged. It's probably a bit of an exaggeration to say that your timp lessons have made me the accountant I am today, but it was an exciting and inspiring time, and I loved every minute of it. So for that, I'd like to thank you and wish you all the best. May you have a long and happy retirement, proper retirement. Until next time.
Ian Wright, you legend. Congratulations, Ian. It's an amazing career and I'm really happy for you. My time at RNCM was very special. How many great students we had then. I mean, setting up Formality, of course, was a great example of what quality we had around at that time. NYO as well, thank you for those opportunities. So great to have so many beers and enjoy that time we had together. So I hope we get to do some more soon. Enjoy your retirement. Catch you soon.
Ian, hi. I just wanted to say congratulations on your upcoming retirement. 42 years is an amazing achievement. What a legacy you've created. I had the best time at college, thank you so much. 5 years of pure brilliance, just amazing, like tuition. Oh my goodness, I had the best time. So I can only imagine the people that came before me, the people who came after me. Wow, that is some legacy. So you must be so proud. You really deserve a very, very happy retirement. I hope you have it. If you ever fancy a walk anytime, I'm thinking Everest. Any inclination for that one? But no, it would be lovely to meet up and have a walk. And lots of love to you, lots of love to your family, and thank you.
Hello, Ian. I hope you're keeping really well. Many congratulations on your epic 42 years at the RNCM. It's absolutely incredible. I'd personally like to say thank you for my time there, which was unbelievably 26 years ago. You'll remember that as your golden period. It was such a privilege being taught by you, and I had the most amazing time there. It's such a fantastic department that you've built up over the years, and I wish you all the very best with your retirement. I hope to see you again really, really soon. All the very best.
Some great messages and music there from the members of Formality. Now, Ian, we're going to move now to a major part of our interview today, because of course, being the Day of Percussion, we're going to focus now on the Day of Percussion. Now, you started this event back in 1993. What was the idea behind setting up the event?
Well, I've mentioned a lot was going on in the States, really. They were really well ahead of UK and Europe in the 70s and 80s. So inspired really by Tim Renish's visit to the States under a Churchill scholarship to study the wind orchestra movement over there, I thought I'd like to do something similar to see what's going on in the colleges there percussion-wise. I didn't get a Churchill scholarship, but college did generously support me to do a tour, which included Oberlin, Michigan, Toronto, Eastman, and look at best practice, the things that they were doing there. And one of them was Days of Percussion, which was a sort of outreach into their community, something for the students, of course, but an outreach into the community to percussionists of all ages and abilities. And I thought, it's a wonderful idea, wonderful idea. And the Percussive Arts Society, a huge American organization covering all branches of percussion, thousands and thousands of members, but also within that, state organizations. So I wasn't trying to aim for something like the national convention, but the state days of percussion. I thought that's something what we could do in Manchester for our own students, but for the percussion public at large.
Now, I remember you always told me, and it's something obviously I've taken forward to, for the Day of Percussion as it is now, that the real aim, if you wanted to put it into a nutshell, of the Day of Percussion is to inspire, educate, and entertain. And that's something
Indeed.
that I felt, that's been all the way through. In that, with that format then, and with those ideas, I know that Nick Petrella helped early on in the life of the Day of Percussion, of course, Bruce Parry as well. And the students, of course, were involved right from the start as well, real integral part of the day.
Absolutely. Well, Nick Petrella came over on a fellowship for 2 years at the RNCM. And there were two things that he was going to do, particularly within that fellowship. And one was to organize the first Day of Percussion. Second one was to set up an art of teaching course, because at that time we didn't really have any formal, this is how you will go about teaching when you yourself leave college and start with your own students. So he came all those 2 years. He was a mature student from the States, and he knew exactly what was going on over there. So he was a great help with those two projects. Particularly the Day of Percussion. He led the percussion ensemble in the evening concert on the very first day. And his very good friend, Bruce Parry, who was a student then, took over after the 2 years in the administration. I didn't try to do it all. I, as it were, chose the list of runners for each day, and they handled the invitations and so on. And Bruce did most of the administration, and that lasted for many years. So the two of them made a huge contribution to the success of the day, which has grown and grown over the years, and it's more or less still the same format, 5 or 6 sessions through the day and a concert in the evening, more or less the same format today.
I mean, I know from doing the Day of Percussion myself, the whole day seems to just go past in a bit of a blur, and you spend the whole day kind of running from one session to the other and watching the clinics, but kind of from the side of the stage before somebody comes along and says, can you just come and help out with something else? But what can you remember about the first Day of Percussion? Did it go as you expected?
Yes, more or less. We had a reasonably good turnout. It grew over the first few years, but yes, I think it was. We were all pleased about it. But how you describe the day is absolutely right. There's always some emergency. Something goes wrong somewhere, and you're trying to meet everybody who's there and ask them how they're enjoying it. And we had, of course, the trade section, which was very important, really, for the people who are attending, but also for the financing of the day. I must say, I enjoy the day more since you started running it so long. I can sit and just enjoy the sessions now, or enjoy meeting people without having to think, what should I be doing? Who should I be looking for? What's happening here and what's happening there? But a lot of people have a really nice time, including many ex-students who turn up for it.
Well, it's a day that creates lots of special memories for lots and lots of people. So let's take a look back at the day from its inception in 1993 right through to our event in 2020. But we're going to start with some words from Bruce Parry.
Hi Ian, just wishing you all the very best on your retirement from teaching at the RNCM. It obviously caps off an amazing teaching career at the highest level, which would be enough on its own, but throw that in with your playing career at the Phil of 40 plus years is just absolutely amazing. I hope you, Chris, and the family are also very proud. I'm extremely proud to say that I'm a former student of Ian Wright, and I'm also extremely proud that I worked with you together at the beginning of the RNCM Day of Percussion, which Back in the 90s, events like that simply didn't exist. You conceived the idea of the event for the RNCM and maintained the standard of people who came to give clinics, and created an event which, while many institutions have tried to copy, none have ever bettered it. Again, another example of the amazing things that you have done at your teaching career at the RNCM. So once again, huge congratulations. I hope you now enjoy all the time you have with Chris and the family, and wish you all the very best for the future.
Some great memories there, and great to look back over the whole range of artists, Ian, that we've had over the years at the Day of Percussion, covering so many different instruments.
Indeed, yeah, there's a lot there. When you add it all up, there's a lot of people and a lot of different aspects of percussion.
Now, another aspect of percussion that's been so important over the years at the RNCM, of course, is for students playing in percussion ensemble, from duos right through to, you know, larger ionisation-sized groups. So let's go right back again to the beginning. And what was the first concert, percussion ensemble concert, that you put together? What was on the programme?
Well, the ensemble was already up and running. Gilbert had done quite a lot of that. Arrangements by Gilbert himself, and there was a mix of the serious and the light there. So the first one I did, the evening serious concert, we call them, contained a work called Requiem for the Massacred by Loris Cheknavorian. And it was a pretty heavy piece, 6 percussionists. I think it was a piece that the ensemble of Strasbourg had done at one point. And there was a solo trumpet in part of it up in the gallery. Des Worthington, who later joined the RLPO. And I didn't think it was that bad really, but Sir John came to the concert and he listened from the other gallery, and afterwards said, yeah, good concert, but you won't play that piece again, will you? Oh, no, Sir John. Anyway, we didn't play that piece again. But there's so much, so many things really. So they tended to be longer pieces. We did Steve Reich pieces, the Colgrass, Lou Harrison, the violin concerto, mostly coming from America. But that was only half. The other half was the lighter side.
And just going back to the more serious side, if you like, of course, there was some commissions as well that the percussion ensemble made from British composers.
Yes, there are 2 pieces particularly. Graham Wetham, whose son Andrew, of course, was a percussion student at RNCM. He wrote a partita for the group to perform, and we did that several times over the years. Richard Gordon-Smith, who violinist in the RLPO and a composer, he wrote Engineerium, which I think you took part in when you were a student.
I did take part in it. I remember it very, very well. I also remember being part of the percussion ensemble, but in a very different type of a program. Of course, those famous Saturday morning children's concerts, I think they were always just around about the time of Christmas, maybe the second weekend in December. And they were a fantastic opportunity for families to come along to the RNCM and to watch the percussion ensemble be introduced to percussion music for the first time. And for us as students, it was absolutely invaluable to learn how to do that kind of an event, to stand up and do a solo, to talk about the instruments, to really sort of get the audience to join in with things. I mean, fantastic opportunities.
Yeah, well, you put it all in a nutshell. Yes, to be organized and to be exposed, really. I mean, it takes a bit of doing to stand up and play a xylophone solo. You know, it's a rite of passage almost for a percussionist. It prepares you well for a symphony orchestra when you play that xylophone solo. But being organized, all the short, different pieces, lots of fun going on. Obviously, it's an entertainment for the young people who are there, but it's an entertainment really for the students as well. But there was a serious side to it, you know, being organized. You can't just let it happen and let it go wrong and so on and so on. So that was an important part of the learning experience, I think.
And it was great for us that we were able to take those concerts then out of the RNCM and take them into other areas. For example, to be part of the Phil Power concerts at the RLPO.
We did that 4 times. Again, that was a Christmas concert. And the audience, of course, that doubled in size at the Philharmonic Hall in Liverpool. A big space to fill, but we did that 4 times. Memorable concerts. We went to the Isle of Man 3 times to their International Festival of Music and Dance, which they held each summer over there. Ray Lomax took a group to the Channel Islands. So that was, you know, fun experience, as well as that organizational one, and getting everything in the right place at the right time. But you remember the Isle of Man experience well now, don't you, Samantha?
I do remember it well, because to my horror, unfortunately, when you said that, you know, that's so critical for percussionists to be in the right place at the right time. Yeah, unfortunately, for the opening parade that took place for that festival, we weren't in the right place at the right time. Unfortunately, we arrived just in time to see you walking past with the banner that we were supposed to be holding, followed by your kids, actually, who were sort of taking the place of us. I'll never forget that look that we got, and I have to tell you, Ian, I've never been late for a single thing ever since. So it's definitely all
story. Yeah.
It's definitely all part of the learning experience, isn't it? Now, in recent years, of course, the percussion ensemble have enjoyed traveling. They've enjoyed traveling to China for 2 very successful tours. So let's enjoy some music now from Li Yu and the group on tour in China. Li Yu with the RNCM Percussion Ensemble on tour in China. Now, Ian, I've always felt an important factor in the department, from being a student and in my current position, is that an overriding thing that you've always instilled in us throughout the department is that the employability of students is so important, not just to be able to play one instrument well, but to be able to play all instruments well, to be organized, to understand how the industry works, how the business works, how to conduct rehearsals, you know, all those kind of areas. It's something that's just so important.
Well, absolutely. You know, if you don't train the students, as it were, and do your best to help them become at least competent, maybe not, perhaps not outstanding, but at least competent in all the areas of percussion, then they're going to lose opportunities when they leave and try to find employment. I suppose one of the best examples is drum kit, hand drumming, Latin. If a student doesn't really get into that, and many come to us with little or no experience in that area, and Dave has always been great at teaching people who aren't advanced as well as, of course, the advanced ones, as long as they work, practice, and learn. And if they don't learn in that area, there are all sorts of ensembles which they'll cut themselves out of. For instance, the shows and the lighter music, and now the orchestras are doing as much light music with that kind of drumming and percussion as they are doing the serious stuff. So that's a good example there. But of course, teaching is another one, because nearly everybody who plays teaches at some point or another. And to get that aspect of their future up and running, this, ideas on how to go about teaching early grade students, later grade students, the different instruments, the basics and so forth. I think it's really, really important. And I'm very pleased that you've carried on with that basic idea, really.
And it's always very interesting and exciting, actually. I've always found it when you find one of your students or former students playing alongside you. And of course, that happened many, many times at the Liverpool Philharmonic when you were playing timpani, and there would often be a current or former student playing in the percussion section.
So, many of the students have played with the RLPO over the years. Liz, many, many times, she still does, of course. And some other students who currently play a lot with them, or rather did until this coronavirus struck the orchestras. Jim Goodwin, Jenny Bradshaw, Richard Winter, Ben Gray, all play regularly. And a similar list would come up for the Halley and the BBC Philharmonic. So wonderful opportunities really to get right inside the performance of the big orchestral repertoire.
So when we have a look and see what areas the students have gone into after leaving the RNCM, I mean, the list is absolutely endless of orchestral playing, obviously, but playing in opera and theatre and ballet orchestras, playing in the West End, playing in theatres and pit orchestras, playing in smaller groups, chamber groups, soloists, commercial music, pop drummers, session drummers, and of course, on sort of other sides of the program, if you like, recording engineers, composers, entrepreneurs, and producers. I mean, the list really just goes on and on.
Indeed, yes, and I could come up with a similar list of people who have been in the music profession for some years, and then taken an interest in some other aspect of life and changed tack. We had a student, Alex Manian, who, having taken a first both at the RNCM and at Manchester University, became a doctor. He's now a doctor in the Liverpool Hospital. And there are quite a few examples like that of people changing tack really later in life.
Well, let's take a moment now to enjoy some more music and messages.
Hi Ian, congratulations on 42 amazing years at the Royal Northern College of Music. I calculate I did slightly less than a tenth of that, doing my 4 years from 1992 until 1996. Someone recently was asking me why I chose the Northern back then, and I was explaining that at the time the other colleges had a much more narrow curriculum, and they were telling me, oh, don't study that marimba and all that Latin stuff, we'll teach you what you need to do to get an orchestral job. And I wanted a broader curriculum, and that's what you guys had, and I benefited enormously from it. Thanks Ian for all the timpani gigs that you passed my way towards the end of my time in college. I've always loved playing timps, and I still play timps, and I still love it. That broad outlook and all those visiting professors and all the genres of music that we got exposed to while we were at the college had a huge influence on my composing and on my work with formality. We don't reckon formality could have been what it was without the background we had at the Royal Northern.
Hi Ian, I just want to wish you a really happy retirement. I have so many good memories, and you really met me at a pivotal point of my life and gave me so much good advice. So thank you so much for that. I always remember the Cavanta gigs that you came to where you dancing, and I'll always remember refusing to accept any payment for a consultation lesson and paying you in grapes instead, and just being so supportive of me and Leo and all of your kindness and help along the way, and also for telling me to stop falling asleep and yawning in my bar's rest in NYO. I wish you all the best, and I hope to see you really soon. Lots of love, Delia.
Well, some great music and messages there. So Ian, let's move now to the current department in 2021. And of course, it's been a rather bumpy time for us recently because of the recent pandemic, and particularly for the students that haven't actually even been able to travel back across to Manchester to join us at the RNCM. And it's been a real unique set of challenges for the staff and for the students. And the students are doing a fantastic job engaging with all the activities that we're putting online, and the staff as well, really having to think outside the box, because of course in the first lockdown, when the building completely closed, well, actually nobody had access to timpani at all, but you still manage to keep the students on track with a series of talks and lectures.
Yes, well, you're right. It was a challenge. There bore no resemblance really to the normal lessons, because they could do nothing, as you say. So I concentrated on repertoire. I covered a lot of repertoire, playing examples, and on 2 practice pads, actually doing little excerpts and encouraging them to try to learn the music and to learn how the timpani parts fitted in with the music, even though they couldn't actually play it. For instance, I'm always saying to the students, the last dance, the sacral and the rite of spring, you don't need to be on timpani to learn that. You can learn it by seeing it, by conducting it, by listening to the music and playing on your knees, 2 notes. And then you get all the tips. So you don't need to be on, you can learn an awful lot away from the instrument. So I hope they find them interesting. I try to open their minds to exploring the repertoire more, learning pieces that they perhaps hadn't come across before. And we've covered a lot of aspects of technique as well, in passing, as it were, really. But now we're back on lessons which are where they can play something, but it's less than ideal, really, if we're truthful on Zoom. It's not quite the same as being there in the same room with them.
So Ian, we were talking there about timpani study. So this would be a great time to ask you for some top tips on playing timpani. We've been hearing from the rest of the RNCM Percussion Department staff in their top tips videos elsewhere on the webpage. So if I could ask you, what would your top tips be for timpani study?
For timpani, so if you think of 2 sections, technique, musicality. Technique, make a good sound, make a decent sound. There's going to be a variety of sound, but don't just hit the instrument without thinking about what you're doing. The shape of the stroke, what you're doing with your wrists, what you're doing with your fingers, and how it sounds. Musical rhythm. Don't have your rhythm sound like a Morse code machine. Put shape and phrasing into your rhythms. When it comes to tuning, sing the intervals, sing tunes. Don't be afraid to make some sound. If you can't sing, if you don't think you can sing, whistle or hum. But I don't know whether you've got those intervals in your head unless you can make some sort of sound. Listen to phrasing all the time. Listen to sound. Am I too loud? That famous book by Gerald Moore. Am I too quiet now then? Make good loud sounds. Make firm, positive, quiet sounds. And when it comes to general things we touched on, learn about all the percussion instruments as much as you possibly can. And that'll stand you in good stead at some stage later on. And learn about teaching. Start teaching if you can. And get interested in that and make that an enjoyable experience for you as well as for the student.
That's some great top tips there. Thank you very much, Ian. Well, we're going to hear some messages now from current and former students before we enjoy some music from a recent graduate, Darren Gallagher, who was awarded with the college's prestigious gold medal.
Ian, you're a great teacher whose passion for music is infectious, as is the joy you take in life. Always good-humoured, with a few more serious words when necessary. Thank you for your positive contribution to so many people's lives, and we all wish you a happy and prosperous retirement.
Hi Ian, I want to wish you a well-deserved happy retirement. All the things that you taught me at the RNCM I still use today in all of my playing, especially this one, which was your catchphrase, more left hand. I've got it in your writing pretty much, which is wrists, particularly your left wrist. Have a good retirement and thank you so much for everything that you taught me.
Ian, I wanted to take this opportunity to say an enormous thank you for an amazing time at the RNCM in my time there, for fantastic tuition, particularly timp tuition, and for the way that you helped therefore kickstart my career. I'm so grateful, and now as I am here teaching abroad, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if it weren't for your guidance and mentorship. Thank you.
Hi Ian, unfortunately I haven't been able to see you as much as I'd want to this first time, but the times I have seen you, it's made such a huge impact on me, and it's completely changed my playing. It's changed my look at the RNCM, timpani, percussion, and pretty much music in general, and that's just made a huge impact on me. I wish you all the best in your retirement, and I hope I can see you around someday, whether that be in the RNCM, in the concert hall, or just anywhere. Thank you.
Hi Ian, congratulations on your retirement from RNCM. I'm sure I'm not the only one who wishes that I'd practiced a bit more when I was a student there, but the one thing I really wish I'd practiced was your accent. Thanks for the great memories. Pa-pum!
Hi Ian, just a little message to say congratulations on your retirement and a remarkable career. at the RNCM. Thanks so much for everything that you've done for all of us young students and professionals. I'll cherish every minute that we spent together, all the lessons, everything you taught me. I think one particular lesson that sticks out for me was the joint lesson with myself and Leonardo, where we done Nielsen 4 in chariot race, and we really got put through our paces in that one. We loved every minute of it, and we loved every minute of all of our lessons with you. So thanks so much. I'm sure you've got plenty planned with your newfound time, plenty of walks and travelling with Chris as well. So I'm sure it'll be a very happy retirement. All the best, and hopefully see you soon.
Great performance there from Darren Gallagher. So Ian, we're going to conclude now by looking into the future, and I'm going to ask you what your plans are for your retirement. It's just in a few weeks' time now. What plans have you got?
Oh, looking into the crystal ball. Well, spending more time with Chris. We've always done a lot of walking, long distance walking, cycling, travel, visiting places in Europe, Himalayas, California, the mountains of California, South America. There's nearly always mountains somewhere there in the background. So having a little more time to do that when all this coronavirus thing is over. We started on a European city project. I went to so many places with the orchestra where we would arrive after a morning in the coach, rehearsal, concert in the evening, couple of beers, go to bed, get up the next day, do the same thing. I missed out on capitals, European capitals like Berlin, Warsaw, and Vienna. So just in the last couple of years, we've been to all these places. Next on the list was St. Petersburg. That other great city of music, really. There are all the Russian composers there. So when we can, we'll get up there, I think.
So it sounds like you're going to have a really busy retirement. And I'm sure that you're going to enjoy everything there. But I'm going to ask you now, I'm going to put you right on the spot. And, 42 years at the RNCM, what would you say are some highlights? I know there'd be absolutely hundreds, but what would you feel if I had to put you on the spot and ask you for some highlights of your time at the college? What would they be?
Well, yes, lots and lots. Concerts, events at college. Well, certainly that concert that Keiko gave in 2002, that was a really, really wonderful occasion because it wasn't so easy getting her to come. We'd invited her once or twice, but she couldn't come at the end of January because she had to do the auditions at our music school in Tokyo then. So we moved the date into February and she came. And there was the most wonderful concert with our students playing in many of the pieces with her. That was certainly a highlight. When Liz Gilliver organized the Manchester Marimba Masters in 2015. That was another highlight. That was an incredible concert. These things had happened in the States, but they never happened in this country. She made an incredible job of it. Very, very happy occasion. Having my daughter as a student there from 95 to 99, I enjoyed that very much. I think she did as well. That we got on very well, and it worked just fine. It was very enjoyable having her there for those 4 years. On a personal note, I studied maths and physics for a couple of years before I tried to get into music. I didn't finish the degree. So my path in music was not a trained one. But in 1988, Sir John granted me the fellowship of the college. So that was a very happy moment. And Tim Renish presented me for the fellowship with all the carry-on with the gowns and the caps and so on. And there were two phrases when he dressed up, which I laugh about still. The first one was, "Much may be made of a Scotchman if you catch him early enough." That was Dr. Johnston. And the second one was even better. He said, "Untrammeled by the constraints of a formal musical education." So we got on very well, Tim and I. He was a great head of department to work for. Very encouraging, very encouraging.
Some great memories there, Ian. We could talk for hours and hours and hours, but I'm going to bring the interview to a close today. Firstly, of course, by thanking you for sharing all those thoughts and memories and recollections of this amazing period of time at the RNCM. You've certainly inspired, educated, and entertained us over the years. Thank you so much. So, Ian, it falls to me on behalf of everyone who's had the pleasure of working with you, learning from you, being advised and guided by you, and of course, who spent many happy hours being with you, to say a massive and heartfelt thank you, to wish you, Chris, and the family all the best for the future, and to raise a glass and to say, cheers, Ian.
Oh, Simone, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Hi Ian, it's Graham here. Congratulations on your retirement and well done for everything that you've done for the RNCM. I'm just thinking of all the students you must have taught. There must be so many, and there must also be so many that didn't used to practice enough. Anyway, thank you for everything that you did for me, my friends at the college, and all of our colleagues. I hope to see you soon and wish you all the very best for your future. But from one Scot to another, all the very best and slàinte mhath.